coming out faster.
Yes, it is. If I start Thursday, I can fill the tub for my Saturday night bath.
I suppose we'll just have to replace the pipes.
Sounds like the only solution. Well, I guess I'll have to dry mop the floors.
Avast! What is the emergency?
Our running water is slowed to a walk.
Well, in my day, we got things done perfectly well. We didn't have running water.
I'm not so sure we have it in my day either.
We didn't need turbo engines or electric toothbrushes. No. Give us a lime to fight off the scurvy and we'd conquer the world for you. Yeah, I recall...
Captain, please, I don't have time to listen to one of your stories right now. I've got to get back to work.
What about the blasted pipes?
Well, they have to be replaced. And I can't afford to do that until I finish the story I'm working on. Which may be never.
Why is that?
Like the plumbing, I've run dry. I don't have an idea in my head. Excuse me, Captain. What are you doing?
Well, you want to pay your bills, don't you?
Yes.
Then come and sit down. We have a story to get out.
We?
Well, with my adventures and your writing talent, we'll be the greatest team since Shakespeare.
I thought Shakespeare was one person.
Don't quibble, madam. Just take advantage of a genuine ghostwriter. I was bound for Bristol, sailing out of Boston Harbor aboard the schooner Marianne. It was the year 1956. I meant 1856.
Well, I think it'll be more interesting to the reader if we update it.
Well, how are you going to do that? The tanker Marianne steamed out of Boston Harbor on its way to Bristol. Captain Joshua Webster was in the pilot house. Who's Captain Joshua Webster?
It's you.
I'm Daniel Gregg, and I've got a death certificate to prove it.
Dictionary's the names.
Oh, I see. Well, I suppose since you're the professional writer, my crew had been straight from the bottom of a barrel of water rats. All manner of cutthroats and brigands who preferred to sign on for the voyage than to face the gallows. I came down from the bridge to find the men had discovered a female stowaway in one of the lifeboats. A lovely lass she was on her way to Dover to meet her betrothed.
It's a romance.
Well, sort of.
Oh, that's perfect. Now I know how we can slant the story. Now, let's see. How does this sound? I had hidden in a lifeboat, hoping to steal passage to Dover to meet my fiancé.
I? How did you get into my story?
Well, it's for Feminine View, Woman's Magazine. We have to have audience identification.
This story is about the captain.
Was seen through the eyes of a stowaway.
Oh, all right. Anyway, by the way the men were behaving, I knew that if I wasn't quick to act, they might try to ravish her. As it was bad luck for a woman to be on board, the captain was afraid the men might try to harm me. They weren't going to harm her, they were going to ravish her.
I'm sorry, but there's no ravishing in Feminine View.
It seems to me that the wildest sea tale they'll want is the Owl and the Pussycat.
Still be exciting now, just go on.
Well, as it was, I was almost too late. One of the men had already grabbed her around the waist. Another had cut the buttons off her chemise with his dirk.
You're going too fast.
How far back do you want me to go? One of the men had already cut the buttons off her. The men stared at me, and all of a sudden I became terrifyingly aware that I was a woman alone in a man's domain. changed everything.
Well, if you won't accept my professional judgment as a writer, we might as well call the whole thing off.
Now, what about my professional judgment as a sea captain, madam? Blasted woman, I was there. However, you do need a story. And the best is yet to come. It was 20 against 1. I leaped down from the bridge, wielding a sword in one hand, a belaying pin in the other, and I thrust myself between the crew and the damsel. Wielding my weapons, I forced the lot of them below decks, and I locked them in the brig.
Wow.
Suddenly, a raging storm sprang up, and for 47 hours, I had to pilot that ship alone. Finally, the sea turned to glass, and I fell exhausted on top of my bunk. Then, there was a knock at the door. The grateful maiden entered, eager to reward my heroism. Slowly, she removed my... What is wrong with someone removing my boots?
There isn't even enough water to do the laundry. I've got a week's wash piled up out there, and the kids look like ragamuffins.
I don't mind. I do. Look, I have to go to town to mail this story. Why don't we bundle everything up and I'll take it to the laundromat?
Well, I'm thirsty. Can I have a drink of water?
Oh, honey, we're all out. I'll fix you a root beer.
Can I take my bath in root beer, too?
Oh, she's watered it down so it's lost all flavor. That's right, Scruffy. That's where it belongs. Oh, I don't know. This story just isn't the way I told it to her. She's taken the wind out of its sails. Now, let's see if we can help her, hmm? Now, if I change one or two little things, it'll be a lot more accurate. Now, let's see. Now, the first word is the. Well, that can stay the same.
Just put it in the car and I'll be right out.
Okay.
Is that all?
Well, that's all the dirty clothes, but you can't take the dirty dishes to the laundromat.
I'll buy some paper plates.
Then you better buy some paper children, too. They haven't had a bath for a week.
I know, Martha. Just be patient. I'll replace the pipes as soon as I sell the story.
That's exactly what I've been talking about. Maiden Voyage will send this magazine's circulation zooming.
It'll do the same for the reader's circulation.
The women who write this kind of thing usually look like gargoyles. The writing is pure fantasy. It's an outlet for their repressed sexual desires.
Not Carolyn Muir.
You know her.
She was in the office about a month before you took over. She makes that secretary you brought with you from Wow magazine look like a gargoyle.
Maybe in her case, the story is autobiographical? Is there still time to get this into the next issue?
No, not really.
Yeah, get it in anyway.
Okay. You're the editor.
Yes, yes. If this story goes over the way I think it will, we may want a sequel. And that just might call for a personal visit to Carolyn Muir.
Captain Gregg? Are you there?
No, but it's a very good likeness.
I have a surprise for you.
Oh, how marvelous.
Can you still enjoy them?
Certainly, madam. Exquisite. What is the occasion?
Feminine View has bought our first story, and here is our first check.
How marvelous. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations to you. We should split it 50-50.
Nonsense. How would I cash it? My identification has been void for 100 years.
Oh, Mrs. Muir! Oh, there you are. About the plumbing, Do I smell cigar smoke?
Martha, I just sold a story. Now we can take care of the plumbing. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it is. But what are you doing with a cigar?
Well, isn't that the customary way to celebrate?
Thank you.
Hi, Nori.
Afternoon, Miss Muir. Got your month's supply of reading?
No, these are all copies of the same magazine. I have a story in them.
Oh, you ought to celebrate by having yourself a short dinner. Mighty fine this week.
It's mighty fine every week.
Bye now.
Mrs. Muir, the writer lady?
Hi.
Hey, fellas, that's the one.
Where?
There. Oh, boy. Look at her. You'd never think she was that kind, would you?
What kind?
Who?
Why, that's Mrs. Muir.
You know her? Maybe you can set me up.
Carolyn Muir is a lady of culture and refinement.
Maybe so, but inside she's a wild woman.
How dare you talk about her that way?
What's going on?
Oh, we're getting a good look at Carolyn Muir.
That woman's worth a good look. And she got herself a story printed up in some magazine.
This magazine, what a story!
Oh, is that what you've all been snickering about?
Yep, she just read herself one of them risky stories, and it's all about herself.
Well, I don't believe it.
Well, don't hardly seem likely to me, neither.
Read it yourself.
I don't believe it. Now, I'm not a tenant of mine.
Make no sense at all.
Now, what do they know of literature?
The chances are they don't understand story writing too good either. That's why they... Wow.
Wow, that Carolyn Muir is a wild woman.
Hello? Yes, this is she. Martha, my story's out. Boston? It's the new editor of Feminine View.
If he wants the check back, he'll have to rip out the plumbing.
How do you do, Mr. Gordon? Really? Oh, that's wonderful. He says there's already a lot of talk about the story. Well, I'm very flattered. It does? My story fits his new policy perfectly.
Hooray for the new policy.
Well, it's terribly nice of you to call. Oh? Well, I could drive down and... Well, if you insist. Fine. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gordon. He says he wants me to do more stories with the same characters, and he's driving up here tomorrow to talk to me about it.
That must be a great story you wrote.
Read it. I've got a million things to do for tomorrow.
Maiden Voyage by Carolyn Muir.
Mommy said to tell you not to forget to make up the guest room.
I won't, thank you.
Who's coming?
A magazine editor. Because of this new story your mother's written.
What's it about?
A lady and a sea captain.
That sounds neat. Maybe it's about Mommy and Captain Gregg. Now, Jonathan, you know Captain Gregg isn't a real living person. Mommy's a real living person. That has nothing to do with it. Why not? Because. Because why? Just because. It sure is hard to argue with girls.
Children, go on up to bed now, both of you.
Bed? We just got home from school.
Well, go on up and do some homework or something. Wow.
How do you like it so far?
This is some story.
Thanks. Look, I have to go back into town to do some errands for tomorrow. While I'm there, I'll send a copy to my mother.
Your mother?
Yeah, I think she'll get a kick out of it.
I bet she will.
Hello? Who is this?
Forgive me, dear lady. I took the liberty of borrowing this magazine. They haven't changed a single line.
Well, I haven't read it yet, but I'm glad you're pleased because we may have a chance to collaborate again.
Oh?
The editor of the magazine's driving up tomorrow, and he wants to do a series of stories about the captain and the girl.
I really like the captain.
And the girl.
The public will always respond to the heroic figure that brings color into their drab lives. You know, when you stop to consider it, this character...
Which character?
Well, me, of course. I mean, Captain whatever you call him. It seems to me that he has tremendous potential for the stage.
Oh, let's not get carried away.
I think Edwin Booth would be perfect for the part.
Edwin Booth's been dead for years.
That's why he'd be perfect for the part.
Hello? I've been getting the strangest phone calls all day long.
Who was it?
I don't know. I said hello, a man answered, said va 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 voom, and hung up. Well, that must be Mr. Gordon. I'll get it. Claymore.
Hiya, Mrs. Muir. I mean, Carolyn. Sweets? For the sweet.
Are you planning to raise the rent?
Oh, let's not talk business, Mrs. Muir. At least not my business.
I don't have time to talk about anything right now. I'm very busy, and I'm expecting someone.
One of the crew?
I don't know what you want, but it's just going to have to wait.
How about tomorrow night? Maybe we could go out for a bird in a bottle.
Have you been making anonymous phone calls?
Anonymous? Certainly not. I'll call you later, baby. Va 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 boom.
No, that's not the voice. False alarm.
Has he been drinking? Oh, maybe that's Mr. Gordon now.
Oh, be nice to him.
I'll show him in with tender, loving care. How nice of you to come all the way up here. Oh, now, don't be shy. Do come in.
Ellsworth Gordon.
Yes, I know. Mr. Gordon, this is Mrs. Muir.
How do you do?
How do you do? I'm so glad.
So glad?
I'm so glad you're Carolyn Muir.
Won't you come in and sit down?
Yes. I thought your story was sensational, but I'm even more impressed with you.
Thank you.
Tell me, where do you get your material?
Oh, well, like any writer, I try to draw from my personal experience or the experience of people I know.
You do?
In Maiden Voyage, I tried to capture an authentic quality.
You got it. You got it. Your story struck exactly the right note for my new policy.
You mentioned that on the phone. I was wondering what your new policy is.
To be frank, more frankness. Bring the magazine up to date, life in the raw. Tell it like it is.
Well, how does my story fit in? It was actually quite mild.
Mild. You really told it like it is. Or rather like some of us like to dream it could be.
I don't understand. I didn't think my story came that close to real life.
It passed mine. Believe me, Mrs. Muir, I'm going to give you every opportunity in your future stories to be just as frank as you want to be.
Now that you've explained your new policy, I'm not sure that it fits in with mine.
Oh, it does. It does, Mrs. Muir. I can see that just by looking at you. You know, you are a very, very unusual woman.
just a normal woman with normal interests.
I was hoping you would say that.
And 2 wholesome children.
Yes, the best things in life are wholesome.
I don't understand this whole thing.
By the way, I like the elegance, the old world quality of your use of the word ravish.
Ravish? That was in my story?
Yes, of course. We didn't change one word.
Well, somebody did.
The magazine has relaxed its inhibitions, Mrs. Muir. Why don't you relax yours?
Mr. Gordon, you're making a mistake.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No, anyone who could write "The first mate ripped off my blouse and then dragged me away by the hair" has to have primitive urges.
I'm sure whoever wrote it does.
I've been turned down ever since I entered this room.
Well, then perhaps you'd better leave.
No. You don't have to play innocent with me.
I am innocent. Yes. Someone else is guilty.
Yes. I'll gladly assume the guilt, just like the bosun. You remember the bosun in your story when he backed you up against the bulkhead? And do you remember what happened next?
No, I don't.
But I do.
Who are you?
You'll soon find out a fast tune, Poncho.
You're putting me on. No, you're not. You're crazy.
To the upper deck, madam.
How come he can see you?
Because I wish it. And you to the brig.
I think you'd better leave.
You said your story was drawn from real life, but this is going too far.
Not as far as you are going.
I can explain this. This is my... Goodbye.
I haven't had so much fun since I tore up a tattoo parlor on the Barbary Coast. But that's another story.
So was the one I wrote. You changed the whole thing without telling me.
Well, I wanted to make it a little more authentic.
At the sacrifice of my reputation? And what about those strange phone calls and the funny looks from the townspeople?
Believe me, madam, nothing as trivial as this could possibly sully your reputation. However, I do apologize. But we did get the plumbing fixed, and I did defend your honor.
Yes, you did that very well. And I'm going to reward your heroism.
Really, madam? How?
Like the lady in your story, I'll remove your boots. Yes, Mr. Gordon, I do accept your apology, and I'd like to apologize for my friend. You see, he gets a little carried away at times.
But I still want to do the series, Mrs. Muir.
Well, you see, Mr. Gordon, I really didn't write that story alone. Actually, I had the help of a ghostwriter. I'd put you in touch with him if I could, but it's all so sad. You see, he died.